Okay, so you're getting leads to opt into your low barrier offer, or maybe they're signing up for a free workout. This is awesome. You're making progress. People have raised their hand, they've expressed their interest, and then they don't show up. Why? This is so frustrating, but I have great news for you. This entire video is devoted to giving you actionable tips and strategies to improve the show rate so the people that raise their hand actually come on in and begin their life of fitness greatness with you and your training gym. My name is Mark Fisher from businessforunicorns.com, and I am excited to talk about this topic. So a few pieces of context for us to start. Number one, if you're doing any follow-up at all, that's amazing. And if you're not, I'd love you so much. You gotta start following up. Number two, we should make a delineation between suspects or prospects. So there is not a set nomenclature in the world of marketing and sales for small business or training gyms. And I think it's important to make a distinction between someone that is a suspect versus someone that is a prospect. You might think of this as leads that are less qualified and leads that are more qualified. So for instance, if you have someone opt into something like a lead magnet and they just give you an email and you have no meaningful communication with them, they haven't expressed interest in moving forward and taking action to potentially work with you in a more meaningful basis, I'd say we love that person. We love that contact. They are a lead, but they're a suspect. You have a lot of suspects. And believe me, we love suspects. Sometimes you have to be a suspect for a long time before you become a prospect. Now, a prospect is someone that is giving you more information and they've made a more obvious move to express interest to, again, raise their hand. Raise your hand. Raise your hand. Today, we're talking about how do we take a prospect and turn them into a client. I'm gonna give you a number of things you can do to improve the likelihood that people will show up. It's very important we do some things, but what's important here is not just that we're taking action, though that is better than not taking action, but speed. Speed matters here. All possible when someone expresses interest, either by calling or certainly if they're opting into some sort of landing page and you get a notification that a contact is opted in with interest, in that moment, they've taken action and they're as hot as they're gonna be, so we wanna take action right away. Now, part of this is going to require, in most situations, building out an automated series of texts and emails. What's great about this is very simple. What can't be automated, of course, is a phone call. Now, I will say that not everybody's gonna pick up the phone in today's day and age, but if they're gonna do it, they're more likely to do it right after they have opted in, right? Within minutes, you're gonna be far, far less likely to get in touch. So it's very important we do this. Now, the automations are important here because oftentimes you'll find with fitness, this has been my experience, and I've seen this consistently across all my clients, you'll get a lot of people that will opt in at 2 in the morning. What happens is our future client, our suspect now turned into prospect, has just finished that delicious third martini. This is a good martini. And in a moment of courage, as well as a moment of frustration with what's going on with their fitness, they hit that form. But then they wake up the next day and they're like, oh, wait a minute, I don't wanna do fitness, that's hard. I was just really drunk, I don't wanna do that. So this is why automated text and emails matter. Step 2 is follow up repeatedly over time. And this is another place where a lot of training gym owners run into problems here. And they're twofold. There's a mindset problem and a skill set problem. Mindset 1 says, I don't want to be annoying. I don't want to bother these people. You're a coach and they expressed their hand. They gave you their phone number and email. They responded specifically to really try out your services. So we have to really break this mindset and trust that you're not being annoying. They have expressed interest. And frankly, they'll tell you if they don't want you to communicate with them anymore, and then you'll just stop. You will be shocked how often when you finally get in touch with that person after, let's say 2 weeks, they finally pick up the phone, they go, oh my gosh, oh, thank you so much for following up repeatedly. Yeah, I know I've not been good about getting in touch. My kid was sick, I did do it, but then I also had a lot of work stuff going on. Because oftentimes, this just isn't the highest priority in their life. That's why they're asking for a coach and some accountability in the first place. So we have to break the mindset that says somebody that has asked for your help is gonna be annoyed if you reach out with any kind of consistency or tenacity. Then we have the skill set, which is just like, we're not good at it. We're not organized enough. We haven't figured out ways to automate this. And there is a skill to doing this, right? Not only the skill to how to effectively follow up, which I'm gonna address in a moment, but just logistically, how do you organize your lead flow? This might be something as simple as a Google spreadsheet where you track this and then you just move people into daily to-do lists. The other tip I wanna mention here again is use multiple channels. I do think it's fair to say that texts are almost always going to be most valuable. I wanna highlight again, this is why you've got to get phone numbers. Emails are not enough when you're looking to move a suspect to become a prospect, because not only do you want to call them, but texting is far and away the platform most people are going to find most convenient. Step 3 is now you want to follow up well. And this basically means be a nice, normal human. Don't be a strange robot, corporation kind of businessy thing. You want to be a person, particularly because, listen, you're calling from a gym, you are texting, and they're going to assume correctly that these are automated business outreach from a business, and you want to do everything you can to disrupt that. Now, obviously, MFF, for those familiar, you might say it's a slightly unusual brand. Even if your brand is a little bit more professional, a little more buttoned up, I still think there's an opportunity to be a human, use an exclamation mark for the love of God, give me some emojis, use some GIFs. You're really looking to prove to this person, I know it sounds ridiculous, prove this person that you're a real life person and not just an automation. The second piece of following up well, besides being a human, is escalate the conversation over time. What you don't want to do is do basically the same message every time. Hello, Mrs. Rossini, it's me again. Hi, Mrs. Rossini. Hello, Mrs. Rossini. Are you ready now to come in for your trial? You should acknowledge that the time span is progressing and you should escalate that. So again, MFF's kind of quirky, but we like to do things like, are you okay, Mrs. Rossini? I want to acknowledge I'm afraid I'm being annoying, and the last thing I want is to annoy you, but at this point, I am afraid that you have been kidnapped by pirates. Please just send me an emoji back, just so I know that you're safe. Furthermore, another thing you can do over time is, instead of just constantly reaching out with some messaging akin to,
are you ready? Now? Now?
You can consider sending them value building content. Depending on your funnel, if you have information about their goals, that's really, really powerful. Step 4, once they have made an appointment, now this could be an appointment for a sales conversation or for the free workout or their first workout, depends a little bit on your offer. You want to then confirm the appointment. Depending on what time of day it is, you might do this the day before, you might do this the morning of, but what will tend to be most effective here is using a personalized video. Now, to be clear, using a personalized video at any point in the follow-up process is going to be valuable. Remember, we're trying to prove to them we're not a robot, we're a real live human. And importantly, you want to use this phrase, I cleared my schedule just for you, because you did. You did. Remember, you're being a real human with them, and most cool real humans are going to be reluctant to completely welch on a commitment if they know there's a real life human that's made this commitment there. And one other thing to keep in mind as far as scheduling this appointment, you're trying to get them to respond. That's the real thing you're trying to sell with all of this follow-up process. So those are the 4 main steps. I want to offer 2 other things to keep in mind that are part of this process. The first is, what happens if they confirm and they don't show up? Well, this happens. So you just start all over again. So now you want to reach out to them. You want to take the blame. This is the thing. You don't want to shame them. You don't want to make them feel bad. You want to reach out and basically say something to the extent of, hey, Mrs. Rossini, I'm really sorry. I think I must have gotten my wires crossed. I thought we were meeting. I apologize about this. Obviously, we'd love to get you back on in here. I do think there's probably a certain point after, I don't know, 3 no-shows, it might be okay to just like sunset them and just say, this isn't the right time. Now, finally, let's say you go through 2 full weeks of the repeated and very effective follow-up and you get no dice. Or let's say they start no-showing and you can't get them back in. Well, what happens after this point? 2 things. Number 1, you're gonna put them in what's called long-term nurture. And that's just a fancy thing that means you're doing your email marketing on a regular basis and they're just gonna keep getting your emails. So they'll also get periodic outreach that you're doing to your whole members when you do specific offers to anyone that they would qualify for. You can also do occasional dedicated outreach to cold prospects. So these are individuals that have moved from suspect to prospect. They've raised their hand in a more substantive way than just signing up for an email list. You maybe even had some interactions with them, but for whatever reason, you never sealed the deal. They never came all the way in. I think it's appropriate to create some systems and or polls to reach out to cold prospects. These are people that weren't converted from prospect into a trial offer. And again, I'm speaking generally here, but probably every few months, give them a ping, checking in on them. You can also build some automated campaigns where maybe after the first 14 days of hot to trot, hot prospect follow-up, they get an automated outreach, let's say every 2 to 4 weeks. All right, friends, well, I hope you found this was valuable. This is a super important topic. If you like this video and you like this content, you should know that I am creating, right now I'm working on an awesome new course. At the time of this video, I've begun process on the ultimate marketing course. I'm putting everything I've ever learned about marketing for small business, for training gyms, into an awesome course coming to Unicorn University. But here's the catch. You have to be a member of the Unicorn Society. If you're interested in finding out more, go to businessofunicorns.com/unicorn-society. Thank you, as always, for watching these videos. If you have not had a chance to like us, to subscribe us, to share us, that would mean a lot to me, because I love it when we get together, because it allows me to give you actionable tips. It lets me give you psychological frameworks, and sometimes, when appropriate, yes, philosophy.